Committee of the committees sitting for the licensing subcommittee for premises and gambling. This is under the subcommittee sitting to consider matters under the Licensing Act of 2003 and the Gambling Act of 2005. My name is John Rest. I'm a member of this council and I will be chairing this meeting. On my left is
Councillor Tim Adams. Sorry, I should put the microphone on. Councillor Tim Adams.
on my right,
Councillor Emma Spagnola.
and gentleman down on the end.
Legal advisor, Tata Malali.
Thank you. Introduce, and then also the Democratic Services.
Yes, I'm Lauren Gregory. I'm Democratic Services Officer and I'll be minute taking this meeting.
And our officer colleagues, please.
Hello there, I'm Nicola Davison and I'm the licensing officer to present this report. I'm Carol By, I'm from the Environmental Protection Department. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Right, we've passed over now, I think, to the legal advisor who will run through the procedures as we carry forward. Thank you.
Sorry, Chairman, if I just quickly will interrupt, just to confirm that there are no apologies for
Oh, I beg
absence.
pardon.
There are no urgent business and just for members to declare if they have any interests.
Okay, sorry, a normal thing, keep forgetting that one. But thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. So my name is Tata Malali. I'm the legal advisor in today's proceedings. We're here to consider an application in respect of the premise license variation concerning Vowood, Cromer Road, High Kelling, Norfolk, NR 2025 6QS. First off, can I just check with the applicant and your representative that you have received the necessary papers in respect of this matter? Just for the record, they confirmed in the affirmative.
Thank you.
Can I just acknowledge with the chair has noted all the attendees today?
Yes, we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll explain a bit about the procedure today. So in order to start off, the licensing officer will present a report to the subcommittee. They'll also make any reference to any relevant policy or statutory guidance. Thereafter, the applicant, followed by any responsible authorities, and then members of the subcommittee will be able to answer questions specifically to the licensing officer. Following that, the applicant will have the opportunity to put forward their case, and thereafter the chair will invite questions from parties in this order, from firstly the licensing officer, followed by responsible authorities, then followed by other persons, the non-present state, so disregard that. And then finally, members of the subcommittee will be able to ask questions of the applicant directly, and you can decide on which one of you prefers to speak during that process. The applicant also may call any particular witnesses to bear witness to any specific events relating to this hearing today. And after that, responsible authorities, which I believe is Carol, will have the opportunity to speak and present their case and call any witnesses they deem fit. Thereafter, a similar process, the licensing officer will be able to ask any questions of the responsible authority here today, followed by the applicant and then other persons. And then finally, members of the subcommittee will be able to ask any questions specifically directly to the responsible authorities here today. There are no other persons, so we'll disregard that point. Summing up, towards the end of this process, there'll be opportunity for each party involved here to give a final statement or summation of their point of the case, and then I ask that each party be limited to 5 minutes to make that summation and that final statement in respect to their case. The panel will then retire to consider the matter in private. So at that point, the hearing ends, and then you'll be allowed to leave. As the legal advisor to the subcommittee, I am not involved in any way in the decision-making process. I'm just there to provide legal advice to the subcommittee in respect of their decision. All parties will be notified and provided with a written decision notice within 5 working days of this hearing. If there are any difficulties during this hearing, if there's any technical difficulties, please let the chair know if there's an appropriate point to do this. As stressed again, I'm just a legal advisor. I'm not involved in decision making. I now refer back to the chair.
Thank you very much. Right, we now pass to the licensing officer who will outline the case for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this hearing is to determine an application to vary a premises licence made under section 34 of the Licensing Act 2003 by Simon Finch Rare Books Limited in relation to the premises Veywood Cromer Road in High Kelling. The application was received by the Licensing Authority on the 16th of August 2022 and was amended by the applicant to reduce the area to which this variation is being sought. A copy of the application is attached to this report on pages 31 through to 46 as Appendix A. The variation application is seeking to extend the licensable area to incorporate the cellar bar, which can be seen on the plan on page 47 and page 109 of the report. And the cellar bar is situated below the games room and the music room. The application made has been subject to the statutory consultation period as prescribed by the regulations. The notices advertising the application have been on display at the premises in 2 locations. So the front gate on the Cromer Road in High Kelling and along Bridge Road in High Kelling. And the notice has been published in the North Norfolk News on the 18th of August 2022. Full details of the proposed activities and timings to take place in the cellar bar are contained in the application form attached as Appendix A of this report and also on page 13 of this report. The operating schedule steps proposed by the applicant to promote the 4 licensing objectives are contained on page 45 of the report. The current premises licence for Veywood, which covers the building and the grounds, can be seen in Appendix C on pages 49 to 65 of the report. Under Annex 1 of the licence on pages 60 to 61, the mandatory conditions are listed. And under Annex 2 of the licence on page 62, there are currently 6 conditions listed which are consistent with the operating schedule. This premises licence reference, LN 0000-10827, was issued back in June 2015. The hearing is necessary to determine the application for variation following receipt of 19 representations which have not been withdrawn. The subcommittee will be aware that its consideration is confined to the promotion of the licensing objectives, and the need or commercial demand of the premises are not considerations for the licensing authority when discharging its licensing functions. In carrying out the licensing functions, the licensing authority must have regard to its statement of licensing policy published under Section 5 of the Act and any guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182. The licensing authority must carry out its functions under the Act with a view to promoting the licensing objectives, which are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. The Licensing Authority has received 4 representations from responsible authorities under the Licensing Act 2003, and these can be seen on pages 16 to 17 of the report. There has been 20 representations received by other persons, which include local residents, and these are attached as Appendix D on pages 67 through to 103 to this report. The representations include 18 objections and 1 in support of the application. To notify the subcommittee, members, a representee did withdraw their representation due to the variation only relating to the cellar bar. The subcommittee must have regard to the representations made, the North Norfolk District Council licensing policy, and to the statutory guidance under the Licensing Act 2003 issued by the Secretary of State. In determining the application for a variation to this premises licence, the subcommittee may take such steps, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. So you can grant the application subject to conditions which are consistent with the operating schedule accompanying this application. You can modify to such an extent as the authority considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives and subject to the mandatory conditions, and which must remain on the licence. To exclude from the scope of the licence any of the licensable activities to which this variation application relates, or you can reject the application. For these purposes, the conditions of the licence are modified if any of them are altered or omitted or any new condition is added. And any party aggrieved by the decision taken by the licensing authority in respect of this application has a statutory right of appeal to the Magistrates' Court. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Has anybody, first of all, got any questions for the licensing officers to clarify anything that we've now heard? Tim, please.
Thank you. Just looking at page 17 with representations from other persons, you mentioned that one of the objections have been withdrawn. Is that within the file of objections here? Is that detailed within there, just so I don't confuse that objection with any of the others?
Yes, it is. And you should have that in your purple papers.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions, licensing officer? No. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we now move to the applicant for their. Yes, down to you. Put forward your case so that we can hear you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Smith and I work for Simon Finch at Vowood. Just to give you a little bit of a background, during lockdown, obviously there was nothing happening at Vowood because we couldn't have any weddings because of the rules that were in place. So we decided to make a small section of our cellar into a cellar bar to offer an additional feature for couples coming to Vowood for their weddings. We have been using it for private events over the last year. This was completed in October 2021. It's only for 60 people and we are purely wanting the extra hour only in our cellar bar. We have somebody on site from 8 o'clock through till 2 o'clock to monitor sound every time there is a wedding in place at Vowood. And they obviously report back if there have been any problems, but they are there if the sound is too loud. They will go in and make sure that the sound is turned down to an acceptable level. And as I say, basically, really, we just have applied for the variation for the cellar bar, and the capacity is around 60 people. When we looked to do this, we did consult. We had a risk assessment done, and also consulted with the fire officer who came to Vowood to look at it for us. And obviously, any suggestions that was made was put in place. I think that's about all I've got to say. Do you have anything to add, Simon?
I mean, actually, we made the cellar bar actually to contain sound because it's obviously subterranean, and actually the sound doesn't leak out from there in the way that it does from the house. So we really try to monitor the sound in the house. I mean, that's more likely to go depending on which way the wind's blowing. The downstairs actually, it's subterranean. It's cellar bar. So actually, yeah. So people can, there's always sort of in a party, there's a few people that want to go on later than a wedding tends to have cross-generational, and the younger people may want to go on and have a drink, and they can do that in relative peace down below. So that was really the purpose of it. Actually, it was a positive thing in terms of sound. Yeah, and Steve Banks is on site to monitor that. So that was the purpose of doing it. Yeah.
Back to the licensing officer. Do you have any questions on this?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Can I just ask, obviously, in respect to the objections that have been received are on the grounds of public nuisance. So have you provided your local residents with, the contact name and number that they can contact should there be any issues with regards to noise?
Well, Steve is in the office, but he might be walking around, which is the main Vowood number.
Yeah, and have you provided that to your local residents? Would they know who to contact if there were any complaints or any issues that they were experiencing?
We can provide. Yeah.
But that will be it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, he might be wandering around, but he'll get back.
Okay, fine. Committee? Do you have anything straight away? I have a couple. but-
Sorry, Chair. Could I invite the responsible authority, Carol By, to ask any
Oh, yes,
questions?
I beg your pardon. Sorry, yeah. My apologies, Karen.
I have no questions at the moment, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I knew that.
Psychic.
Shall we go ahead first?
Yeah, I can do. Just a couple of issues. You say the cellar bar has 60 covers. That was you said it can hold 60 people?
I mean, that's, that's
That's what the premise is
that's
about.
what it,
Okay.
yeah.
Can the cellar bar be booked separately from the people using the rest of the venue?
Not at this current time, no.
Not at this current time. That means you may allow it at some future time for a separate party of 60 to just use the cellar bar.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah.
Generally, we are so busy with weddings that there wouldn't actually be the possibility of somebody coming in purely to hire that, because we have weddings on a Wednesday and on a Saturday.
Mainly on the
Yeah,
Saturday.
Yes,
mainly
main.
Saturday is the main day, but we
Yeah.
have been so busy, and obviously there's been quite a lot of postponements because of the COVID and the lockdown.
Obviously.
But obviously we've had a lot of catching up to do this year, so we have had quite a lot of the Wednesday weddings
Yeah.
as well. But generally our main day is the Saturday. And because with turnaround times and everything to get the house ready for the weekends, it would be difficult to hire it out to anybody individually.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be hard not to use the rest of the house, and so that the whole, you know, the way
Okay.
the way it's configured. I mean, it's just, I mean, actually, in a way, I mean, it's so much better for sound, you know, that it's actually contained in that bit.
Sorry, yeah, I can understand that. My sort of thought was that if you've got a function on in the house, which is obviously your main business, and that is going well on a Saturday, and somebody has contacted you to say, look, I understand you've got to sell a bar, we've got a group of 50 people, we would like a separate booking, they're not going to use it, can we use that? My concern is you've then got another volume of people arriving, more traffic, more parking, etc. Because obviously those that are already there have already got there, they don't need extra cars. It's really that flow. But if you're saying that that is not your intention to book it as a separate venue.
The house is hired out exclusively for the couple's use. So they
Right.
hire the house for 2 nights. So they come in on the Friday
Yeah,
at midday, and they leave on the Sunday at 2 o'clock. Sometimes there is the option of hiring it for another night. They do have a fairly low key day on the Sunday, but they have it exclusively. So no one else could come in and use that bar over
That's
and
fine.
above the people who have exclusively hired the house.
that's fine. So they
Yeah,
can use it.
I mean,
I can understand.
it's that's the sort of basic model, is that, you know,
Yeah.
that they settle in.
You get
and
the
get
whole thing
themselves-
is all yours.
Yes, you get the
What
whole
do.
thing,
You get the
accommodating
whole-
40 odd
You get the
people.
whole hand.
Yeah.
I mean, I think probably, I have no idea who the one person that supported, but I keep in very touch with the person very close to Vowood, who's, you know, the most effective. I know,
Yeah.
I'm, you know, so I've used him as a sounding. I think he probably supported us. I have no idea. I'm not
Okay.
not gonna, but I keep him very close,
Yeah.
you know, and say, how are we doing? You know, have you been disturbed? Because they're by far the closest, and
Okay.
you know, if there is any noise issues, he's going to tell me. He's going to say, Simon, you know, it was too loud last night, blah blah blah.
Okay.
And I keep in close touch with him.
And that's fine. On the opposite side of that, you've got 18 people that have rejected.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a low number for the area that you're in. I don't know how comfortable, I know in business, we've all got opposition, etc., etc. But I don't know how comfortable you are knowing that there are 18 objections who are obviously have their own concerns, very much on the same lines, which is a fairly obvious thing when something changes. But are you prepared? Are you comfortable? Do you think you've really done enough to assist your local community to what you're trying to do? You're trying to run a business, and I hope you make great success. That's what you need to do. But those people need to live there as well, around that surrounding area. You need better to have them as on your side than as a constant enemy. And I'm sure that's not what you want.
No, I mean, we did have a, you know, quite often when there's been fireworks and other things from the thing, that we've actually come in for the things. I had a problem on, you know, someone posting online insulting remarks on my thing saying, you know, Bowood setting off fireworks, and it isn't us. You know, that's, you know, I'm really there to work with the local community to the best of my ability, and I've tried to do that by having one, you know, the person closest to me, and to use them, and you know, and be there. But you know, we're there to try and be as good neighbours as possible within the context of you know running a business. And I was told also that someone was sort of going door to door trying to get, you know, and that kind of, it's not the spirit that I'd like to try and do.
No.
You know, I'd like to be available to, you know, talk to people, not to have a sort of, you know, a campaign to go door to door to,
of course,
to sort of whip up support for. You know, I'm available to talk to people. You know, that's, you know, and we're doing our best to, you know, to monitor sound and to, you know, really we did the cellar bar to actually be a good thing in that respect. Actually,
I can see it.
You know, to be you know, a bit stricter on sound in the main house, and so you know, if you want to carry on, there's a space that's easier to do it.
My sort of final question for my colleagues step in. Weddings are your main venue. That is your main business. Yes, is the wedding. Weddings have all generation there. From the old
on the whole
to the young. The cellar bar will be licensed, and you have a problem if you have people underage accessing that area. And I presume you have very stringent rules and regulations, and someone will be monitoring that, because they won't be in the public eye, will they, down in the cellar?
Just generally, we have a particular bar company that we have a collaboration with. So they would be down there and they would obviously be monitoring people that they would be selling drinks to. So it would work in a very similar way as it would in a pub or other places that are selling alcohol. So they would be asking for ID and checking that there is nobody under there in there trying to purchase alcohol underage.
Yeah, or somebody purchasing for them.
Yes.
That are underage is more the problem with weddings.
Yeah.
So okay, as long as you know we're aware of that, that's fine. My colleagues, Tim.
Well, I think most of my questions have been answered or sort of asked already. I suppose just one thing to clarify. You know, I can see in terms of the justification for moving some of the activities into the cellar area. Can I presume then that there might have been some complaints before about some of the sound issues? Was that a problem for you that you tried to mitigate?
To be quite honest, we've had very, very few complaints. I mean, considering the number of events we have every year, we get very, very few complaints. So no, it was just really us thinking, as Simon said, to take some music away or the sound away from the house and actually focus it underground, where obviously it wouldn't cause a problem. We just try to think ahead before problems arise.
And you're undertaking sound monitoring, and that's acted upon if you know it ever slips above.
Yes, we have. There is a limit in our premises license of the sound level for the nearest properties, and the guy who monitors the sound, we have decibel checkers, and to be perfectly honest, generally the sound is road noise rather than music from Vowood. And that's what seems to register on the decibel checker when he walks around and monitors the sound. And he does that a couple of times, 2 or 3 times during the course of the event, just to check that we're obviously within our the criteria for our premises license.
Yeah, I mean, the sound is definitely, you know, you can hear it, but it's, you know, sort of, you know, there's music going on. I mean, if you actually listen out for it, it'll be there. But I mean, we try to keep it at an acceptable level. But you know, that's.
Can I just clarify? Sorry, in the cellar, is it recorded music? It's not live.
Yeah, it's recorded music. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Nothing more from me, thank you.
I was just going to add to what the licensing officer actually said with regards to the telephone. I just wonder if it'd be possible if your man's out walking around the premises, if there's somehow that you could make sure that he's contactable at all times. I just wonder if that's a possibility. And I just think possibly if this is going on with the complaints at this point, it would be a great initiative to try and be more open, I guess, to let people know what's going on there. Be, you know, so that way they can't come back and go, we didn't know, and we got the noise and that kind of thing. So it's just a couple of points. It wasn't really questions as such.
We have been a wedding venue for quite some number of years now, around sort of 15, 18 years. Obviously, we will make sure that the person who's monitoring the sound is available. I mean, we could get a mobile phone purely for him to use on the nights when we have weddings there, which will probably be a help, rather than obviously giving him his personal number out and being bombarded. But that is something that we will definitely look into the best way of approaching that.
Okay, do you have any other questions? Do you want to ask anybody?
Sorry, Chair, may I
Yeah.
ask a question of the applicants? This gentleman who monitors sound, does he have an official title?
Well, he calls himself a night watchman, but I'm not terribly keen on that title, but that's what he refers to himself as.
And his method of checking the sound, how is that done? Is it done using specialist equipment?
Well, he's actually based in the office when he's there, which is again under the house, and then obviously from there he hears any sound that's whatever's going on in the house, and then he will walk round with the decibel. We've got decibel checkers, but he will just walk around and check the sound level around High Kelling.
Perfect. And he's working every Saturday and Wednesday or whenever there's events.
Yes.
Perfect. That's enough questions for me. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing from me.
Thank you. Okay, you have no more questions that you wish to ask? Anybody? Okay, can you turn the mic off? Sorry, I know they're a bit sensitive, otherwise it picked up different sound. Okay, let's back to the officer. Have you any further questions?
Yeah, just like to ask Chair, Carol By, our environmental protection team, could she confirm please whether we've received any complaints within the authority with regards to this premise from local residents?
Carol?
Okay, yes, I can give an overview of what we've received. So I've reviewed the complaints history for the Vowood address. We've had a few noise complaints in previous years. The last one was a little while ago in 2018, so that's a few years ago, and we just had one there of music and lyrics, not confirmed where it was from, a report to us about music and lyrics in 2018. Previously to that, 2017, I think we had a total of 5, again, reports to us, again, not confirmed by us. They're representations, complaints to us, and we will try and discuss with the residents and the business about resolving. Just for completeness, to go back a little further, 2014, we had one complaint to us. I think to be quite clear with that one, we're not sure of the location of that. It could have been another premises, whether that's business or residential. And then to go back to the first one, that's back in 2012, we had 5 contacts at that point. But I think it's worth noting that that's 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah.
But that's a short review of what
Lovely.
we've had, most
Okay.
recent 2018. If there's any question or detail,
Yeah.
I'm happy to add, of course.
Thank you for that. You okay with that?
Yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've got no other representations, none of the people that have objected, but have only corresponded, so they haven't attended, but that's their privilege. So I think we're sort of coming to summary now. So if we've been around the table, if anyone's got any other questions, anything else?
Can I just say, Chair, that the a lot of the objections that we did receive I think we're based more on the premises as a whole rather than just the cellar bar to which this application relates.
Yeah.
Just like to,
Okay,
thank you.
that's fair enough. Yeah, sorry, Carol.
Correct. It's just possible to make another brief comment, if I may.
Please.
We've had some discussion this morning about the provision of a contact number. And I note in the agenda in section 3.3, it mentions that a staff member of Vowood will be on site from 20:00 hours till close. I think given that that's a suggested condition, I think there is merit in providing a public contact number,
Yeah,
a mobile number, which is available on the evening, so that those who want to make contact with the business can contact, and then it allows the business. I think there's benefits for the business and for residents to check, is there an issue? And it's a good way of getting, I think, resolution and information for the two, and I think it ties in very well with the condition I've mentioned.
okay,
So
thank you.
I think that's a benefit for your consideration. Thank you.
Can I just check what the mobile signal is like where you are? Because there are some dead areas around there.
It is better since they put the mast up at the rugby club. It
Right.
is much better. And we would obviously look to get a mobile phone that we knew was
Was
one of the
compatible to
better,
that,
yeah,
so-
was one of the
because
better.
you don't
signals.
really want people using that as an excuse to say, well, it's all very well, but I can't get hold of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but so
Yes.
you're aware that then. that
Yeah,
that is-
I mean, actually at Vowood, it's pretty good. So I mean, if Steve is on a wander around
Okay.
checking sound, when he gets back to the office, he would obviously pick up any sound
Yep.
level from there. And we could also give people the office telephone number as well. So, you know, if they do struggle to get hold of him on a mobile, there's a voicemail on that, so they can leave a voicemail. So there are two things that we.
I think the more you can do, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah.
so that people haven't got that reason, to say, I can't get hold of you
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
If you've got other options,
Yeah.
then I think that you're covering yourself anyway.
Yeah.
To what you need to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. You okay with that?
Absolutely.
You okay with that? Mr. Legal, please.
Can I just double check with Carol? You said there was one complaint in 2018. I think I just missed the next one after that. I picked up in 2014. There was one year in between. What was that? Yes.
Yes. So in 2017, we had 5 contacts about noise.
And those were unverified on.
Unverified, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all from me, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Is there any other clarification or points that legally we need to look at before we make a decisions?
None for me, Chair. I will say that in the course of the decision making, I will be providing advice on the 4 licensing objectives and primarily the case law precedent set down in the matter of Thwaites. I refer back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, thank you for everybody attending. We will now go and consider the case, which we do. We shouldn't be too long, hopefully. And then we will get back to you with that decision. You're obviously welcome to stay and hear it, whatever the decision will be, or we can contact you if you don't wish to stay. Is that okay? We're okay with that.
Chair, this decision will be provided, it will be written and will be provided within 5 working days. So there's no requirement for you to stay. It's unlikely that we'll have a written decision available to today, but I believe I have your contact via the licensing officer, and that'll be sent to you directly within 5 working days. So you can be free to leave after the hearing concludes. No. No. I refer back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay.